Alright folks, imagine walking into someone's living room and spotting a plant that costs more than your car. Yeah, that's the level we're talking about today. These aren't your everyday pothos from the corner store. These are the rare, jaw-dropping, wallet-draining houseplants that collectors chase like treasure hunters. In 2026, the plant world has gotten even wilder, and we're counting down the 12 most expensive houseplants that'll make you say, wait, people really pay that much for a leaf? Let's get into it. Kicking things off, the Variegated Monstera has basically become the poster child for pricey plants, and for good reason. It's rare, visually striking, and plant lovers will pay a small fortune just to own one. Those creamy white and green marbled leaves don't happen often in nature, so every cutting feels like a little piece of art. Collectors have shelled out anywhere from $500 to $5,000 depending on size and the intensity of the variegation, with some single leaf cuttings even going viral at auctions. Beyond the price tag, it's actually a manageable plant to care for if you give it bright, indirect light and keep the soil lightly moist without drowning it. What makes it even more fascinating is how unstable the variegation can be. Some leaves pop out fully white, others more green, and you never really know what's coming next, which adds to the thrill. People love showing them off not just as plants but as living design pieces, and that mix of rarity, beauty, and unpredictability is exactly why the Variegated Monstera sits at the top of almost every list of the most expensive houseplants. The Variegated Mini Monstera, also called Rhaphidophora Tetrasperma, might be small in size, but its price tag definitely isn't. This little climber looks like a scaled-down version of the famous Monstera deliciosa, and when those split leaves come splashed with creamy white variegation, collectors go wild. Because true variegated minis are super rare and hard to propagate without losing their color, single cuttings have sold for anywhere between $1,000 and $6,000 depending on how much variegation shows. Care-wise, it thrives in bright, indirect light, needs a moss pole or trellis to climb, and appreciates a good chunky soil mix that drains well. What makes it even more appealing is its fast growth. Unlike some rare plants that take forever, this one can take off if you treat it right, making every new variegated leaf feel like hitting the jackpot. That mix of rarity, beauty, and surprising vigor is why the Variegated Mini Monstera has secured its spot among the most expensive houseplants of 2026. The Variegated Rhaphidophora Tetrasperma is basically the holy grail for a lot of collectors, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. With its petite, fenestrated leaves splashed in creamy whites and pale yellows, it looks like someone painted each leaf by hand. The catch is, this plant is incredibly rare. Variegated versions don't pop up often in cultivation, which is why people drop anywhere from $5,000 to even $12,000 for a well-established one. It loves bright, indirect light to keep those variegations crisp, and it does best in a chunky soil mix with steady humidity, so it's a little high maintenance compared to your average houseplant. What makes it even more exciting is how unpredictable it can be. Sometimes you'll get a half-moon leaf that's half white, half green, and that's basically jackpot territory for collectors. It's not just a plant, it's a conversation piece, a status symbol, and a living example of how far the houseplant craze has gone in 2026. The bonsai tree might not sound exotic compared to some of the flashy variegated plants, but in the world of expensive houseplants, it's a true heavyweight. What makes bonsai so valuable is the art behind them. Some trees have been carefully shaped and trained for decades, even centuries, with skilled hands guiding every curve of the trunk and every tiny branch. That kind of time and mastery doesn't come cheap. Certain bonsai have sold for $10,000 to over $1 million, especially when they're old, rare species like Japanese white pine. Taking care of one is more like a lifelong partnership than casual plant ownership. They need precise watering, regular pruning, and just the right balance of light to stay healthy while keeping their miniature form. What's fascinating is that some bonsai are passed down through generations, making them more like heirlooms than houseplants. In 2026, they remain a status symbol for collectors, combining living art, history, and horticulture in one tiny, breathtaking package. The Strelitzia Nicolai Variegata, often called the variegated white bird of paradise, is a showstopper that instantly grabs attention with its massive tropical leaves streaked in creamy whites and minty greens. Unlike the regular Strelitzia you see in lobbies and patios, the variegated version is extremely rare, which is why collectors are willing to pay anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000 for a well-established plant. Its giant leaves can stretch several feet long, making it a bold, architectural statement in any space, almost like having a living sculpture indoors. Care-wise, it thrives in bright, indirect light, appreciates warmth, and loves consistent moisture without sitting in soggy soil. The real charm is that no two plants look alike. Every leaf has a different splash or stripe pattern, so each one feels unique and one of a kind. In 2026, this plant isn't just decor, it's a centerpiece that screams rarity and luxury, which is why it's firmly planted on the list of the most expensive houseplants. The large Monstera Obliqua is one of those plants that separates the casual plant fans from the hardcore collectors, mostly because of how rare and jaw-dropping it really is. Unlike its cousin the Monstera Adansonii, which has similar holes in the leaves, the Obliqua takes it to the extreme. Its leaves are so thin and delicate, with massive fenestrations, that sometimes there's more hole than leaf. That fragility and rarity is exactly why prices can soar, with mature specimens fetching $5,000 to even $20,000 depending on size and condition. It's not the easiest plant to keep alive either, since it craves high humidity, steady warmth, and careful watering. Basically, you have to baby it if you want it to thrive. What makes it fascinating is how slow it grows, which only adds to its mystique. Every new leaf feels like a hard-won victory. By 2026, owning a large Monstera Obliqua isn't just about having a plant, it's about joining an elite circle of collectors who value rarity, beauty, and the thrill of nurturing something so delicate. The Alocasia Azlanii, often called the Red Mambo, is one of the most striking alocasias you'll ever see and a true gem in the expensive houseplant world. Its leaves look almost unreal, with deep metallic purples, bright green veining, and a glossy sheen that makes them look like they've been lacquered. Because it's native to Borneo and not widely cultivated, supply is limited, and collectors are happy to pay anywhere from $300 to over $3,000 depending on size and condition. Care-wise, it's a bit picky. It loves high humidity, warm temperatures, and evenly moist soil, but it will sulk or drop leaves if conditions aren't right. The fun part is that every leaf unfurls with slightly different coloring, almost like unwrapping a surprise each time. In 2026, it stands out not just as a rare plant but as a living piece of art, the kind of centerpiece that immediately sparks conversation and shows you're serious about your collection. The Anthurium Crystallinum is pure elegance, the kind of plant that makes you stop and stare thanks to its velvety, heart-shaped leaves with bright silver veins running through them like lightning bolts. Native to Central and South America, it's been a favorite among collectors for years, but in 2026 the demand for large, well-established specimens has pushed prices anywhere from $200 for small plants up to $3,000 for rare, mature ones with perfect foliage. It thrives in bright, indirect light, high humidity, and a loose, chunky soil mix, but it does like a little extra attention. Miss a watering or let the air get too dry and those velvety leaves will let you know. What makes it extra special is how it looks almost unreal in person, like someone painted silver streaks across dark green velvet. For collectors, it's not just about rarity but about having a statement piece that adds a touch of luxury and sophistication to any plant display, which is why it cemented its place among the most expensive houseplants this year. The Philodendron Pink Princess is one of the most Instagram-famous plants out there, and its popularity hasn't slowed down in 2026. In fact, it's only gotten pricier. What makes it so sought after are those dramatic splashes of bubblegum pink mixed with deep green, sometimes even producing half-moon leaves that look like modern art. Because stable variegation is rare and growers can't guarantee how much pink a new plant will show, prices swing wildly. Anywhere from $200 for a tiny starter up to $4,000 for a mature plant with strong, consistent pink. It loves bright, indirect light to keep those colors vibrant, and it does best in well-draining soil with steady humidity, but too much sun can actually burn the pink parts. The fun fact? Some collectors will pay thousands for just a single leaf cutting if it has that perfect half-pink split. It's playful, flashy, and unapologetically bold, making the Philodendron Pink Princess one of the most iconic and expensive houseplants you can own right now. The Philodendron Tortum is like the rebel of the philodendron family, with leaves that look more like jungle antlers than the broad hearts we're used to. Its long, narrow, deeply cut leaves twist and curl as they grow, giving it a sculptural, almost prehistoric vibe that collectors can't resist. Because it's not as common in cultivation, mature plants in 2026 can fetch anywhere from $500 to $3,500 depending on size and condition. Care-wise, it's surprisingly manageable. It likes bright, indirect light, a chunky soil mix that drains well, and consistent moisture, though it's a bit more forgiving than some of its high-maintenance cousins. The real charm is how it stands out in a collection. Next to all the glossy, broad-leafed tropicals, the tortum looks wild, airy, and totally unique. For plant lovers who want something rare but also a little edgy, the Philodendron Tortum is a perfect blend of statement piece and collector's prize. The Monstera Esqueleto is one of those plants that instantly grabs attention with its oversized, lace-like leaves that look almost skeletal, hence the name. It's native to Costa Rica and Honduras, but seeing one outside its natural habitat is rare, which is why prices for mature plants in 2026 can climb anywhere from $800 to well over $5,000. Compared to its cousin the Monstera Adansonii, the Esqueleto's leaves are much larger, with dramatic holes and cuts that make it look more like living artwork than a houseplant. It thrives in bright, indirect light, high humidity, and a chunky, airy soil mix, but it does demand patience since it grows slower than you'd expect for a Monstera. What makes it extra exciting for collectors is the sheer scale. Those fenestrated leaves can grow to several feet long indoors if conditions are just right. Owning a Monstera Esqueleto isn't just about having a rare plant, it's about having a centerpiece that makes your whole collection feel next level. The Monstera Oceana mint is the new superstar on the block, and in 2026 it's turning heads as one of the freshest, most expensive additions to the Monstera family. What makes it so jaw-dropping is the minty green and creamy white marbling that looks like someone swirled paint across the leaves. No two are ever the same, and the patterns can be breathtaking. Because it's so rare and still relatively new in cultivation, collectors are paying sky-high prices, anywhere from $2,000 to $15,000 depending on size and the intensity of the variegation. It thrives in bright, indirect light with a chunky, well-draining soil mix, and like most Monsteras, it appreciates high humidity to really flourish. The cool part is how unpredictable it can be. One leaf might come out with just a splash of mint, while the next might be almost entirely creamy white, making it feel like unwrapping a surprise every time. For collectors chasing the next big thing, the Monstera Oceana mint is the ultimate flex piece, blending rarity, beauty, and serious bragging rights in one stunning plant. So there you have it, the 12 most expensive houseplants of 2026, each one proof that beauty, rarity, and a little obsession can turn leaves into luxury. Whether you're dreaming of a variegated monstera or just happy keeping a pothos alive, it's clear the plant world has something for everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you had fun, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment telling me which plant blew your mind the most, and of course, hit that subscribe button so we can keep growing together.